So moving on to 7.3, we're going to talk about dating methods, specifically ordinary dating methods. Now, so far what we've been talking about are trade discounts, but now we're also going to be looking, like I mentioned, at the very beginning of this video, is we have cash discounts as well. Cash discounts are really a function of how long it takes you to pay the bill. If you can pay it pretty fast, then companies like to offer discounts with that. When we're talking about ordinary dating methods, you often see them in this format or maybe this format. Either way, they're really saying the same thing. It's 210 net 30. What this really reads as take a 2% discount if you pay within 10 days. Otherwise, it's due in 30 days at full price. So you'll often see that on the actual invoice, somewhere on the invoice. Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, down at the bottom it says 210 net 30. So the amount to be paid is $1,817.56. That's the amount to be paid, right? However, they're offering a 2% discount. So in essence, we could take that discount if in fact we pay within the term, which is in 10 days. And sometimes they actually even give it to us on the invoice where it says if you pay it by the 16th, let's go look at the invoice date. The invoice, usually that's the date that triggers everything. So 10/6. 10/6 is the invoice date. So 10 days after 10/6 means by the 16th is when this needs to be paid. If you pay it within the 16th, then you can take a 2% discount. What we have to remember is how many days are in each month. 30-day months are April, June, September, November. 31 days are January, March, May, July, August, October, December. And then the only exception is February, where most years it is 28. This year was a leap year, so we had 29 days. And there's the knuckle sandwich again that we've looked at before in class, that you could actually use your knuckle to figure out how many days. Essentially, every knuckle represents 31 days. In between is 30, except for February. February is 28, or maybe 29 days when it's a leap year. Now, most accounts payable that I know who actually work on this, they just use calendars and they just count from the calendars. But, I guess we're going to pretend we don't have access to a calendar, and so we're going to go ahead and run the numbers. So let's see how good you are. All right, we're going to go ahead and see, let's see. A Hershey invoice is dated January 2nd and offers the terms 210 net 30. Find the last date on which the 2% discount may be taken, and B, the net payment date. So in essence, you're just counting days, all right? Days from January 2nd. See if you can do that. 210 net 30. All right, so if it's 210 on January 2nd, well, this one's pretty easy. We're just going to add 10 days to the 2nd, and we'll end up with the 12th. So you can take the discount on the 12th, but if you don't pay it by the 12th, then you're stuck with the net. When it's actually due, it's due in 30 days. So we've got to figure out how many days or what day we'll get to the 30th day. Well, you can count it out on a calendar, or you can do some quick calculations. We know that there's 31 days in January. There's 31 days in January, so we'll take 31. We've already used up 2. If it happened on the 2nd, we've used those 2 up. So 31 minus the 2 gives us the 29 days remaining in January after that invoice was issued. So we're looking for 30 days. We're looking for 30 days, so we've used up 29, so that means 1 day into February, which means that 1 day in February will give us the 30 days. That means that it's due February 1st. Okay? Let's go ahead and take out this next one. Bed Bath & Beyond. An invoice received by Bed Bath & Beyond for $840 is dated July 1st and offers the terms of 210 net 30. If the invoice is paid on July 8th and the shipping and insurance charges, which were FOB shipping point, are $35.60, find the total amount due. Here's what we have to remember. It's the same kind of computation, except you can't discount freight charges because you're essentially reimbursing the company for what the cost was. So you're paying for the freight. You're assuming there's no add-on or premium on that, so you're just going to go ahead and pay the $35. So you have to discount everything else and then figure out what's due. Go ahead and press pause and figure it out. Okay, so let's get the relevant information that we need here. So the terms are 210 net 30. So we're going to get a 2% discount, or we just pay it in 30 days. %2 discount paid in 10 days. Otherwise, it's due in 30 days. So let's see what we have here. If it's paid on July 8th, so the first thing we need to figure out is, well, okay, did we pay it within the discount terms? Well, it's July 1st, we got 10 days, so July 1st plus 10 is going to be July 11th. Well, we in fact did pay it within that, because as long as we pay it by the 11th, we're good to go. So now the question is what are we going to actually pay? Well, the first thing we need to know is that Bed Bath & Beyond received an invoice for $804. So the cost was $840. Now they probably got an invoice that had this shipping plus a freight, which was $35.60, which means that their total invoice was the sum of those. So we're going to add those two together. And when we add those two together, we end up with $875.60. So that's what the invoice comes, and then it gives you the terms. Well, you've got to figure out what the discount is, but remember what I told you is the discount isn't on the freight. It's only on the cost of the goods, or whatever you're actually buying. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what the discount is. It's 2%. 2% is the discount. So with 2% as the discount, we can use the complement to make our life easier. So the complement equals 0.98. 1 minus 2% is 98%, or 0.98. And now that we have the actual net cost equivalent, so we're simply going to take the $840, we're going to multiply it by 0.98. All right, so 840 multiplied by 0.98. Now that gives us $823.20. And we're not done yet though, because we still have the freight cost. Remember, we can't discount the freight, but we do definitely need to add it back in once we've figured out the discount. So now the total price is going to be $823 plus the $35.60. So my total cost is going to be $858.80. $858.80. All right, now in some cases, occasionally an invoice is post-dated, and if it's post-dated or dated in the future, and what that does is it gives the buyer a little bit more time a little bit more time as it relates to the discount. The reason being is that sometimes it may take a while for that freight to be delivered, depending on where it's coming from. So especially if it's coming overseas location, imagine putting on a ship and giving them 10 days to take a discount. You'd be lucky if you get it within 10 days, the actual product. So they may date it into the future. So let's take an example of the following Bakersfield clothing invoice is dated 7/25/18 as of 8/1/18. So in other words, they're going to give a good, well, we know there's 31 days in July, so they're going to give a good 6 days of travel time. So they're going to say, okay, well, the 6 days, we'll just call that travel time, but starting August 1st, that's what the invoice date is, and that's when you can begin the discount period. So when you see the term as of 8/1, not as if, it's as of. As of means that's the date that you're actually going to be using. So we'll take a look at this invoice here, date 25 as of 8/1. So 8/1 is going to be, so from here on out, we're good to go. What are the terms? Do they have the terms anywhere here? Let's see. Oh, it says here, it's take an 8% discount if you pay within 10. Otherwise, it's EOM, and EOM means end of the month. EOM always means end of the month, okay? So let's take a look at that. An invoice, let's go ahead and cover this up. An invoice for a shipment of Henkel's cutlery from Germany is dated October 21st, as of November 1st, with terms of 3/15 net 30. Find A, the last date on which the cash discount may be taken, and B, the net payment date. Go ahead and pause and see if you can come back with that. So the solution, which is really no computations involved, you just need to follow the calendars. The beginning of the post date as of is November 1st. Well, so even though it's dated October 21st, you start the discount date as of November 1st. When it tells you 3%, 15, then we need to get to the 15th day. Well, so that makes it pretty easy. If it's November 1st, we're going to add 15 days, then the discount is up to the 16th. So if you pay before the 16th on or before, then you can take the discount. Otherwise, it's due in net 30. So we're going to say, okay, well, when is that? Well, it started on November 1, and we're going to add 30 days to that. Well, 30 minus 1, because there's 30 days in November, minus 1, that's only 29 days in November. So that takes us to the following month, December 1st. It's due December 1st. Okay, an invoice from Cellular Products is dated May 18th and offers terms of 4/10, 3/25, 1/40, net 60. Find the 3 final dates for each discount and B, the net payment date. Okay, so what this says is you can take a 4% discount if you pay within 10 days. A 3% discount if you pay within 25. Only take a 1% discount if you pay within 40 days. Otherwise, it's due in 60 days. So find the 3 final dates and the net payment date. Okay, so let's take the discount. The discount's going to be 4% if we pay within 10 days. We're going to go from the 18th and add 10 days. That'll push us to the 28th. All right. We can take a 3% discount and find the 25th day, or 25 days after the 18th. Well, the way we come up with that is we know there's 31 days in May. 18 of them are all used up. So what does that leave us? That leaves us 13 days. 13 days in May, and we're looking for 25. So we'll take the 25 and we'll subtract 13, and that leaves us with a remainder of 12 days. So we'll end up on June 12th. So let's figure this out. If we want the 4%, if we want a 4% discount, we need to be able to pay that within 10 days after May 18th or May 28th. So that's easy. The 3% discount, that one's going to be a little bit tougher. We need to pay, we can take it at 25 days after May 18th. Well, first of all, how many days are remaining in May? So remaining days in May, well, there's 31 days, and now we've already used up 18, so now the remaining days is 13. So we take the days in the month and the invoice date, and that's going to give us the remaining days. Well, that means we've accounted for 13, but we still need to account for another 25. So now from here we're going to say, okay, so 25 days minus 13 in May leaves us 12 days to account for. So now that means that 12 days will be the following month. So June 12th will be the next discount date. Okay, so did we get that right? Let's make sure. Yep, June 12th. And then 1% it paid within 40 days. So we're going to have to do the same thing we did before. So we're talking now about the 1%. And we can take the 1% if paid within 40 days, of May 18th. So the first part is going to be pretty easy. We've already figured out how many days are in the month of May remaining. So there's 13 days in May. So we'll just do that. May is 13 days. So that's what we're accounting for. Now May, June, there's 30 days in June. So there are, we need 40 days. We've accounted for 13 of them. So now with 40, we'll take 40 minus the 13, which will give us 27 days. So then we need to pay this on June 27th. Yep, that confirms. 1% due 27th. And then I think we needed to figure out what the net payment date is. 60 days. So this one is going to be a little more of a challenge, but so we'll do net. We'll do the net here. Due 60 days after May 18th. When we're trying to figure out the actual due date, we know it's 60 days after May 18th. We'll figure out, well, how many days do we have remaining in May? In fact, we've already computed that. We'll go back up here. I think we figured out that to be 13 days remaining in May. So let's use that 13. We know we've used up 13 days here. In June, well, there's 30 days in June, and we're using all that up because we could add those up. We know that that's 43. We're still not there to 60, but we're at 43. Well, how many days remaining? We know we're not going to be. So if we take 60 and we subtract the 43, well, we have 17 days remaining. So what does that mean? That means this net payment day, the due date in 60 days is on July 17th.